My child, stop for a moment. Just breathe. I need you to hear something tonight, something that has been meant for you for a very long time. You have been carrying a weight in your heart, a quiet kind of pain, the kind that doesn't always have words, the kind that keeps you awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why. Why did this person leave? Why did this friendship fade? Why does it feel like someone I trusted is no longer in my life the way they used to be? I want you to know, that is exactly why I brought you here tonight. This message is not an accident. You did not stumble upon these words by chance. I placed this moment in front of you because I have something very important to say to your heart, and I need you to listen, not just with your ears, but with the deepest part of who you are. I am here. I have always been here. And what I am about to share with you, is something I have been waiting patiently to tell you. You know that feeling when someone you cared about deeply, someone you laughed with, trusted, maybe even loved, starts to drift away. Or maybe they didn't drift. Maybe the separation was sudden. Maybe it hurt in a way that left you speechless. Maybe you replayed conversations in your mind, wondering what went wrong. Maybe you asked yourself over and over again, did I do something? Was I not enough? My child, I want you to hear me clearly right now. It was not because you were not enough. It was because I was doing something. I know that might be hard to understand right now. I know that the pain of losing someone, or of feeling left behind, or of watching a relationship quietly fall apart, does not always feel like a blessing. It feels like loss. It feels like rejection. It feels like a door slamming shut when all you wanted was for it to remain open. But I need you to trust me on this. I removed that person, or I allowed that distance to grow, because I am protecting something far greater in your life. I am protecting your future. I am protecting your peace. I am protecting the purpose I placed inside of you before you were ever born. Let me tell you something about the way I work. I do not always speak in loud voices or dramatic signs. Sometimes I speak in the quiet moments, in the pauses between what was and what is about to be. Sometimes the way I speak most clearly, is through change. Through endings. Through the gentle but undeniable pulling away of something that was no longer serving the path I have laid before you. I see things you cannot see. I see the conversations that would have happened 6 months from now, the ones that would have broken your spirit. I see the influence that relationship was quietly having on your heart, pulling you just slightly off course, away from who I created you to be. I see the door that is about to open in your life, and I know that if certain people were still standing in your way, you might not have walked through it. So I moved them. Not out of cruelty. Not because I stopped caring. Not because your feelings do not matter to me. I moved them because of how deeply I love you. Can I ask you something? Have you ever watched someone you love walk towards something dangerous, and you reached out and gently redirected them, not to hurt them, but to protect them? Have you ever seen a child running toward the edge of something and pulled them back, even when they cried because they didn't understand why you stopped them? That is what I do for my children. You are my child. And sometimes, the most loving thing I can do for you is remove what is comfortable and familiar, in order to make room for what is truly meant for you. I know it doesn't feel loving in the moment. I know loss hurts. I know loneliness is one of the heaviest things a person can carry. I know what it feels like to reach for someone who is no longer there. I know all of it. And I am not asking you to pretend it doesn't hurt. I am asking you to trust me in the middle of the hurt. Let's talk about the people who were removed through betrayal. Maybe it wasn't a slow drifting apart. Maybe someone you trusted deeply, someone you would have called a best friend, someone you shared your heart with, chose to walk away. Or maybe they didn't just walk away. Maybe they hurt you on their way out. Maybe they said things that cut deep. Maybe they chose someone else, a different path, a different version of life that didn't include you. And maybe that betrayal left a mark. I see that mark, my child. I see the way you built walls around your heart after that. I see the way you became just a little more guarded, just a little more hesitant to trust, just a little more careful about who you let in. I understand why. I do not judge you for protecting yourself. But I want you to know something about betrayal. Betrayal has a way of revealing what was always there. The person who hurt you did not suddenly become someone different. They simply showed you who they had always been underneath the surface. And as painful as that revelation was, it was a mercy. Because I would rather you see the truth now, than build your entire life on a foundation of something false. I was protecting you from a future of quiet misery. I was protecting you from continuing to invest your time, your energy, your love, and your prayers into something that was never going to carry you to where you were meant to go. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your clarity. There are people who came into your life for a season, and I want you to understand something about seasons. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Not every friendship is designed to carry you through every chapter. Some people were placed in your life to teach you something. Some were placed there to help you grow through something. Some were placed there simply to walk with you through a specific stretch of road, and when that stretch was over, so was the season. That does not mean the relationship was a failure. It does not mean the love wasn't real. It simply means I designed life to move in seasons, in chapters, in moments that change and evolve as you do. The person who was right for your life at 22 may not be the right person for your life at 35. And letting go of that, accepting that seasons end, is one of the hardest forms of faith a person can practice. But it is still faith. And I honor it. I want to speak now to those of you who are in the middle of the loneliness. Maybe you are not just missing one person. Maybe it feels like an entire season of your life has gone quiet. Maybe you look around and you see less people standing beside you than there used to be. Maybe you have moved to a new place, or gone through a major life change, or simply grown in ways that created distance between you and people who once felt close. And maybe in the silence that's left behind, a voice has whispered to you that something is wrong with you. That you are too much or too little. That you are somehow to blame for the emptiness. I need you to silence that voice right now. Because that voice is not mine. My voice says this: you are not alone. You have never been alone. Even in the quietest, most isolated season of your life. I was sitting right beside you. I was watching over every sleepless night. I was present in every moment of grief. I was holding you in ways you may not have felt, but that were absolutely real. Loneliness is not a punishment. Sometimes loneliness is a preparation. It is in the quiet seasons that people do their deepest growing. It is in the seasons when the noise of other people's voices fades away that you can finally hear your own voice again. And more importantly, you can finally hear mine. So let me ask you something gently. In the quiet of this moment, in a space left behind by someone who is no longer there, have you had a chance to turn toward me? Have you sat in the silence and asked me what I want to say to you? Because I have been waiting for this moment. I have been longing to speak to you without competition. I have been hoping that in the very space where someone else used to stand, you would turn and find me there. I am not the God who sits far away watching you struggle. I am the God who is close. I am the God who sees the tears you cry in private. I am the God who knows your name and knows your story and knows every single thing about you, and still chooses to stay. I am not going anywhere. And that is something no human being, no matter how wonderful or well-meaning, can promise you. Now let's talk about the future for a moment, because I want you to see something. I want you to imagine a field. A wide, open field with good soil and the potential for an incredible harvest. But before that harvest can come, the field has to be prepared. The ground has to be broken up. Old roots that have tangled themselves deep into the soil have to be pulled out. Some of those roots might have belonged to plants that were once beautiful, but had grown wild and were choking out what was trying to grow. You are that field. And I am the farmer who loves his land. When I remove something from your life, I am not destroying you. I am tending to you. I am pulling up what has tangled around your roots and is keeping your harvest from breaking through. I am making room in the soil of your heart for something new to take hold. And the harvest that is coming for you is worth the preparation. I know you cannot see it yet. I know standing in a field that feels broken and empty is not a comfortable place to be. But preparation is not the same as punishment. Emptiness is not the same as abandonment. It is the same field, just in a different season. Let me speak to those of you who have been holding on. Maybe you already know that a certain relationship in your life is not healthy. Maybe deep in your spirit, you feel that this person is not bringing out the best in you. Maybe you have prayed about it. Maybe you have cried about it. Maybe you have wrestled with it for a long time. But you keep holding on, because letting go is terrifying. Because familiar pain somehow feels safer than the unknown. Because at least with this person in your life, you know what each day looks like. My child, I understand why you hold on. But I need to ask you something. Is holding on protecting your peace, or is it protecting your fear? I am not telling you to make any decisions tonight that you are not ready to make. I would never rush you or force you. That is not who I am. But I do want you to sit with that question. I want you to bring it to me honestly. I want you to lay it before me and say, God, I don't know how to let go of this. I need your help. And I will help you. I promise you that I will walk you through every step of the releasing process. I will give you the grace you need for each day. I will not ask you to leap when you need to take steps. I will meet you right where you are and I will carry you through. You do not have to do this alone. There is something else I want to address tonight, and it is the question of timing. You may be wondering, if this removal is truly from me, if this person was truly meant to leave, then why does it still hurt so much? Shouldn't it feel peaceful if it's God's will? Shouldn't surrender feel like relief? Sometimes it does. And sometimes, it feels like grief. And both are okay. You can trust my plan and still mourn the loss. You can believe that I am doing something good and still feel the ache of an empty space. Faith and sadness are not opposites. They can exist in the same heart at the same time. I do not ask you to pretend. I do not ask you to smile through your tears and insist that you feel fine when you do not. I ask for your honesty. I ask for your trust. I ask you to bring me the real version of what you are feeling, and let me meet you there. Grief is not weakness. Grief is love that has nowhere to go yet. And I will hold it for you until you know where to put it. I also want you to think about the people who are still in your life. When one relationship ends or changes, it can be easy to fall into a pattern of fear. You begin to wonder who is next. You hold people at arm's length because you are afraid to be hurt again. You begin to measure every friendship, every connection, every person who reaches out to you, through the lens of loss rather than the lens of love. Do not let past removals make you afraid of future connections. Do not let what was taken from you cause you to push away what I am trying to give you. There are people in your life right now, or people who are coming, who have been specifically chosen by me for your next chapter. These are people who will know the truest version of you and still choose to stay. These are relationships that will feel different from the ones that hurt you, not because they are perfect, but because they are aligned with who you truly are and where you are truly going. I am not done bringing people into your life. I am just making sure the foundation is ready to hold them. Now let's talk about gratitude for a moment. I know that might sound strange after everything we've discussed. How do you feel grateful for loss? How do you give thanks for something that caused you pain? Start small. Start by simply saying, God, I don't understand this, but I trust you. That is enough for now. You do not have to feel grateful for the pain itself. But you can begin to open your heart to the possibility that something good is being worked through it. Gratitude is not about pretending that hard things are easy. Gratitude is about believing that I am good, even when things are not. And I am good. I was good before your loss. I am good in the middle of your loss. And I will be good on the other side of it. That does not change. My character does not shift based on your circumstances. I remain constant. I remain faithful. I remain entirely, completely, unwaveringly for you. Can I tell you where I am taking you? You may not be able to see it clearly yet, but let me describe it to you. I am taking you to a place of peace that you have not yet experienced. A deep, settled kind of peace that does not depend on who is in the room or who is standing beside you. A peace that comes from knowing, really knowing, that you are loved, you are seen, you are called, and you are held. I am taking you to a place of purpose where your gifts and your passions align in a way that feels effortless and alive. Where you wake up in the morning with something to move toward. Where your life feels like it has direction and meaning and weight. I am taking you to a place of community where the relationships around you are built on honesty, on faith, on genuine love. Not the kind of connection that drains you, but the kind that fills you. I am not finished with your story. I am just in the middle of writing one of its most important chapters. And maybe you are wondering, how long? How long will this season last? How long do I have to sit in the discomfort of this removal before something new begins? I hear that question in your heart. And I want to answer it honestly. I do not always give timetables. Not because I am withholding, but because if I told you exactly how long this season would last, you might spend it watching the clock instead of growing through it. You might endure instead of transform. You might wait out the pain instead of allowing it to teach you something. I am more interested in your depth than your speed. I am more interested in making you ready than making you comfortable. But I can promise you this. The season will not last forever. The tears will not flow forever. The loneliness will not echo forever. There is a morning coming, and it is closer than it feels right now. Hold on just a little longer. I am asking you to trust me with just one more step. Let me speak now to the ones who are afraid. Maybe you are afraid that removing this person means you will be alone indefinitely. Maybe you are afraid that love will not come again, or friendship will not be rebuilt, or that the community you are longing for does not exist for someone like you. I want to address that fear with great tenderness. You were not created for isolation. I designed you for connection. I placed in you a deep longing for relationship, and that longing is not a mistake. It is a reflection of me, because I myself exist in relationship. The desire in your heart for love, for belonging, for someone who truly knows you, that is holy. That is sacred. That is something I put there. But the fulfillment of that desire has to come at the right time, with the right people, on the right foundation. And I am preparing all of that for you right now. Do not let fear convince you that my plan has forgotten you. Do not let loneliness convince you that this is your permanent state. Do not let the absence of someone tell you that you are not worthy of presence. You are worthy. You are wanted. You are loved beyond what words can fully capture. As we come toward the end of this message tonight, I want to say something that I need you to carry with you into sleep. You are going to be okay. I know that is simple. I know it does not solve every question in your heart right now. But I need you to hear it from me tonight, because I am the only one who can say it with complete certainty. You are going to be okay. Not just surviving. Not just getting by. Truly, deeply okay. Whole. Healed. Moving forward. Loved. The person who left was not your wholeness. The relationship that ended was not the source of your value. The friendship that faded was not the proof of your worth. Your worth was established before you ever drew your first breath, written into your very existence by a God who does not make mistakes. And I did not make a mistake when I made you. I want to leave you with one final image. Think about the night sky. When you look up at it on a clear evening, it looks still. It looks permanent. Every star in its place, the moon hanging steady, everything right where it seems it should be. But the truth is, the universe is constantly in motion. Stars are shifting, systems are moving, things are changing all the time in ways the human eye cannot detect. And yet the night sky is beautiful. And yet it holds. Your life is like that. From where you stand, inside the movement and the change and the loss, everything might feel unstable and uncertain. But from where I stand, I see the whole sky. I see how every shift is working together. I see the beauty in the motion. I see where every single thing is going. And it is beautiful. Your story is beautiful. Even now. Even in this chapter. Even in the season of removal and quiet and grief. It is beautiful because I am writing it, and I do not write anything without purpose. So tonight, as you lay down your head, I want you to release the grief to me. Not forever. Just for tonight. Just let me hold it while you rest. Let me sit with the questions that don't have answers yet. Let me watch over the space that feels empty. Let me be present in the silence that used to be filled by a voice that is no longer there. You do not have to figure everything out tonight. You do not have to know what comes next. All you have to do tonight is trust. Just a little bit. Just enough to close your eyes and breathe and say, God, I don't understand, but I trust you. That small, quiet act of faith means everything to me. And it is enough. Before you go, I want to remind you of something. My love for you is not conditional on your understanding. It is not based on whether you have all the answers or whether you feel strong or whether your faith is perfect and unshaken. My love for you is not earned and it cannot be lost. I loved you before you knew my name. I love you in your doubting. I love you in your confusion. I love you in the middle of your loss. And I will love you on the other side of it. Nothing that has been removed from your life, nothing that has changed or ended or shifted, has removed you from my love. You are still mine. You are still held. You are still being led somewhere beautiful. Rest now, my child. Tomorrow holds more than you can imagine. And I will be there, every step of the way. If this message has touched your heart tonight, if these words have reached something in you that needed to be reached, then I ask you to stay connected. There are more messages like this one waiting for you. Press subscribe so that the next time your heart needs a reminder of who I am and how deeply you are loved, these words will be there for you. You are not alone. You never were. Good night, my child. I love you more than you will ever fully know.
You didn't find this video by accident. I need you to stop, just for a moment, and understand that. Out of everything you could have been doing right now, out of every video, every scroll, every distraction available to you tonight, something brought you here. Something quiet and invisible and entirely intentional placed this message directly in front of you. That something was me. And I have been waiting to speak to you. My child. I know what you have been carrying. I know the weight that sits on your chest when you first open your eyes in the morning, that heavy, wordless feeling that something is wrong, or something is missing, or something is too much. I know the way you take a breath before you face the day, like you are bracing for something. I have seen it. Every single morning. I have been there. And tonight, I needed you to hear that. Before we go any further, I want to say something that I need you to receive with your whole heart. This moment is not a coincidence. I do not work in coincidences. I work in purpose. I work in the quiet, unseen spaces where one small thing leads to another and eventually guides a person to the exact place they need to be. You needed this message. And so I made sure you found it. Not because you asked for it out loud. Maybe you didn't even know you needed it. But I know you. I know you better than you know yourself. I know every unspoken prayer you have lifted toward the sky in exhaustion. I know every silent cry you have swallowed before it could reach the surface. I know every moment you sat with your pain alone because you didn't want to burden anyone else with it. I heard all of it. Every single word you never said out loud. And I am here. Let me talk about you for a moment. Not the version of you that most people see. Not the version that smiles through hard days and says, "I'm fine," when someone asks how you're doing. Not the version that holds everything together because everyone around you is counting on you to do exactly that. I want to talk about the real you. The one who is tired. The one who lies awake at night long after the rest of the world has gone quiet, and thinks. And worries. And replays things. And wonders how much longer this season is going to last. The one who has cried in private, in cars, in bathrooms, in the dark, because some spaces feel safe enough to finally let the tears come that you held back all day. I see that version of you. And that is the one I am speaking to tonight. Can I ask you something? When was the last time you really let yourself feel what you are feeling, without immediately telling yourself to be stronger? When was the last time you sat with your own pain honestly, without rushing past it or pushing it down or covering it with something else? For so many people, the answer to that question is a long time ago. Because the world does not always make room for real pain. The world celebrates the ones who push through, who bounce back, who smile and keep moving. And so you learned, maybe early on, maybe over time, that your pain was something to manage privately. Something to carry quietly. Something not to show too much of, because showing it felt like weakness. But I want you to know something tonight. Your pain is not a weakness. It is the evidence of how deeply you feel, how much you care, how fully you have loved and invested and tried. And I never, not once, looked at your pain and saw weakness. I looked at it and I saw a heart that was given to love, and that love was met with something hard. That is not weakness. That is humanity. And I honor it in you. Let me describe something. There is a kind of exhaustion that goes beyond being physically tired. It is not the kind of tired that a good night of sleep can fix. It is the kind that lives deeper, in the bones, in the spirit, in the very center of who you are. It is what happens when you have given and given and given without receiving enough back. When you have hoped and waited and prayed and the answer still has not come. When you have been strong for so long that you no longer remember what it felt like to be held. That is the exhaustion I am talking about tonight. And if that is where you are, I need you to know that I see you. Not from a distance. Not from some far-off place of judgment or indifference. I see you the way a parent sees a child who is struggling and aches to help. I see you the way someone who loves you deeply and completely sees you, with nothing hidden, nothing held back, and no version of you that could change the way I feel. I see all of you. And I am not going anywhere. Let's talk about loneliness for a moment. Because I think loneliness might be one of the things you carry most quietly. You might be surrounded by people and still feel it. You might have a family, a job, people who know your name and your face and your history, and still feel fundamentally, achingly alone. Like the real you, the innermost version of you, is a room that no one has ever fully entered. Loneliness is not always about being physically by yourself. Sometimes it is the loneliness of feeling misunderstood. The loneliness of having no one who asks the right questions. The loneliness of laughing at the right moments and responding correctly in conversations while something deep inside you is quietly unraveling. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely invisible? I want you to hear me very clearly on this. You are not invisible to me. You have never been invisible to me. Not for one single second of your life. Every moment you felt unseen by the world around you. I was watching. Every moment you felt like you could disappear and no one would notice. I would have noticed. I would notice. I do notice. You matter to me in a way that no human language is fully equipped to describe. You are not an afterthought. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are deeply, specifically, individually known and loved by the God who created the universe, and somehow, that same God knows the number of hairs on your head. Knows what makes you laugh. Knows what breaks your heart. Knows the dreams you buried because life got hard. I know all of it. And I am not finished with any of it. Now I want to speak about something that many people are too afraid to name. Betrayal. Maybe someone you trusted completely showed you that your trust was misplaced. Maybe a person you would have stood up for without hesitation chose not to stand up for you. Maybe someone who said they loved you, left. Or stayed, but in a way that made you feel more alone than their absence would have. Betrayal leaves a specific kind of wound. It is not just the pain of what happened. It is the disorientation of realizing that the version of reality you believed in, the one where this person was who you thought they were, was not entirely true. And when that disorientation settles in, it does not just change how you feel about that person. It changes how you feel about yourself. It makes you question your own judgment. It makes you wonder what else you might have been wrong about. And it makes you afraid to trust again. My child, I understand why your heart has grown careful. I understand the walls that went up after that wound. I understand why you guard yourself more now. I am not here to tell you that what happened to you was not real or not painful or not significant. It was all of those things. And the person who caused that pain will be held accountable in ways that are beyond your responsibility to manage. But I am here to tell you this. That betrayal was not the final word on your life. It was not proof that you are unlovable, or unwise, or destined for pain. It was the end of one chapter, a hard, painful chapter, that I am going to use to write something stronger and more beautiful in the chapters ahead. Your story is not over. Not even close. Can I tell you something about your prayers? I know there are prayers you have carried for a long time. Prayers you have lifted up so many times that you almost stopped believing they were being heard. Prayers that have been answered with silence, or at least what felt like silence. And I know how discouraging that can feel. I know what it does to the human heart to keep reaching out and feel like nothing is coming back. But my child, silence is not absence. Let me say that again, because I need it to land somewhere deep in you. Silence is not absence. When I am quiet, it does not mean I have stopped working. When the answer has not come in the form you expected or on the timeline you needed, it does not mean the answer is not coming. It means I am doing something in the unseen. It means I am preparing things you cannot yet see. It means the answer, when it arrives, is going to arrive with a fullness and a rightness that waiting has made possible. I am not ignoring your prayers. I have heard every single one of them. The ones you prayed on your knees. The ones you prayed in your car. The ones that were just a single word cried out in the dark, please. I heard those. I have held every one of them. And I am moving on them, even now, even tonight, even in this very moment as you listen to these words. Do not give up on prayer. Do not give up on me. Let me talk about the nights. The nights are often where the hardest battles happen. The days are easier to fill with noise and movement and distraction. But the nights get quiet. And in the quiet, things surface that you worked all day to keep submerged. The anxiety that crawls in when the lights go down. The grief that feels manageable in daylight but becomes overwhelming in the dark. The thoughts that circle and circle without resolution. The fear about tomorrow, or next month, or the future that feels uncertain and heavy and out of your control. I know about those nights. I know the ones where you lay completely still but your mind was anything but still. I know the ones where you finally fell asleep from exhaustion only to wake up an hour later with that familiar weight already back in your chest. I know the nights where you just stared at the ceiling and talked to me, or tried to, because you didn't know what else to do. I was there in every one of those nights. Sitting with you. Watching over you. Present in the silence even when you could not feel me there. The nights will not always be this hard. I promise you that. But for tonight, for this night, I am here. You are not facing this darkness alone. And if the only thing you can manage right now is just to breathe and to hear that you are loved, then that is exactly enough. Just breathe. You are safe. I want to address something that is very important to me tonight. The way you speak to yourself. I have listened to the things you say to yourself in quiet moments. The things you call yourself when you make a mistake. The way you replay your failures with a harshness that you would never direct at another person. The way you hold yourself responsible for things that were outside your control. The way you sometimes tell yourself that you are too broken, too far gone, too complicated to be fully loved or fully helped or fully healed. I need you to stop believing those things. Not because they make me sad, though they do. But because they are simply not true. They are lies that pain and weariness have whispered into your ear so many times that they started to sound like facts. You are not too broken. There is no version of brokenness that exists beyond my ability to restore. There is no level of mess or failure or wound or regret that disqualifies you from the life I have imagined for you. I do not work with perfect people. I never have. Every single person I have ever used for something great came to me with their own set of scars and shadows and struggling places. I am not looking for perfect. I am looking for willing. And the fact that you are here tonight, the fact that some part of you turned toward this message, opened your heart to these words, tells me that something in you is still willing. Still reaching. Still hoping, even if just barely. That is more than enough for me to work with. Let me paint you a picture. Think about a seed buried in the ground. From the outside, nothing is happening. The soil is still. There is no movement, no color, no evidence that anything is alive. To anyone passing by, that patch of earth might look empty. Might look like nothing. But underneath the surface, something is breaking open. Something is pushing through the dark, through the resistance, through the weight of the earth above it. Something is growing toward a light it cannot yet see but somehow knows is there. That seed has no guarantee. It cannot see the sky. It does not know what it is becoming. It just grows, because that is what it was made to do. You are that seed. The season you are in right now, the one that feels underground, hidden, heavy, without visible progress, is a growing season. It does not look like growth from where you stand. But from where I stand, I can see everything that is happening beneath the surface of your life. I can see the roots that are forming. I can see the strength that is building. I can see the person you are becoming through this process. And my child, what is growing in you is extraordinary. Do not give up before the bloom. I want to speak now to the ones who are struggling silently. The ones who are always the strong one in the room. The ones that everyone else leans on. The ones who give advice, offer comfort, check on other people, and somehow manage to do all of it while quietly falling apart on the inside. I see you. And I want to ask you something. Who checks on you? Who are you allowed to fall apart in front of? Who holds space for your uncertainty, your exhaustion, your grief? Because sometimes the most giving people are the most isolated in their pain, because they have spent so long being strong for everyone else that they have forgotten how to be vulnerable, or perhaps never learned that it was safe to be. My child, you are allowed to need support. You are allowed to be the one who is struggling sometimes. You are allowed to lay down the weight of holding everyone else up and simply say, I need help today. I am tired today. I am not okay today. That is not failure. That is honesty. And honesty is one of the bravest things a person can offer. I will meet you in your honesty. I will hold the space that you have been afraid to take up. I will be the presence that does not flinch when you show the full weight of what you have been carrying. You do not have to be strong with me. You never did. You can come to me with nothing but the truth of where you are, and that will always, always be enough. Let's talk about hope for a moment. Not the shallow kind. Not the kind that pretends everything is fine or ignores the reality of how hard things are. I mean the deep kind. The kind that lives underneath everything. The kind that knows the night is real and still believes the morning is coming. The kind that has been beaten down and disappointed and made to feel foolish, and somehow, quietly, continues to flicker. Do you still have that kind of hope? Even a small amount of it? Even just a tiny thread of something in you that still reaches, still believes, still whispers maybe things could be different, maybe there is something more coming, maybe I am not stuck here forever. If that thread exists in you, I want to tell you that it is sacred. Do not let anything extinguish it. That thread of hope is not naive. It is not denial. It is not foolishness. It is the part of you that is connected to me, the part that was built to trust in something larger than what you can see, larger than your current circumstances, larger than your pain. Hold on to that thread. I am on the other end of it. I want to talk about fear now. Because I know that many of the struggles you carry are wrapped in fear. Fear of the future. Fear of being hurt again. Fear of trusting and being disappointed. Fear of hoping too much and having that hope taken away. Fear that no matter how hard you try, things will not change. Fear is one of the heaviest things a person can carry, and it is one of the most common. You are not alone in your fear. Almost every person who has ever lived has known this particular companion. It is ancient, and it is persistent, and it knows exactly which tender places in you to press on. But I need you to hear me. Fear does not get the final say. Fear is loud, but it is not in charge. Fear will tell you what could go wrong, but it will not tell you what I am capable of. Fear knows your history, but it does not know my plan. Fear looks at your current situation and says this is it, this is all there is, but fear does not have my vantage point. I have already seen the end of your story. And it is not the ending that fear is trying to convince you of. There are people listening to this tonight who have almost given up. Not dramatically. Not in a single moment of decision. But slowly, gradually, the fight has begun to drain out of them. The prayers have become shorter. The expectations have lowered. The dreams that once felt so alive have gotten quieter, packed away in a mental corner labeled someday, or maybe never, or things I used to believe. If that is you, I want to speak to you directly right now. Do not give up. Not tonight. Not this week. Not in this season. I know you are tired. I know the road has been longer than you expected and harder than you planned for. I know there have been moments when giving up felt like the only relief available to you. I am not dismissing how real that feeling is. But I am asking you for one more day. Just one more day of holding on. One more day of believing, even weakly, even barely. One more day of waking up and putting one foot in front of the other and trusting that I am working in ways you cannot see. Because I am. Right now, at this very moment, in the details of your life that feel most stuck and most impossible. I am working. There are things in motion that you do not know about yet. Doors that are about to open. People who are about to appear. Circumstances that are quietly, invisibly shifting in directions that are going to surprise you. Not because you earned it or because everything has been perfect, but because I love you, and I made promises to you, and I keep my promises. Every single one of them. Can I tell you what I see when I look at you? The worry about the finances. The grief about the relationship. The fear about the future. The confusion about what to do next. The quiet sadness you have been carrying for longer than you want to admit. The hope that you are afraid to fully hold because you are not sure you can survive another disappointment. Give me all of it. I will hold it carefully. I will not drop it. And I will work through every single piece of it in ways that are beyond what you can orchestrate on your own. You do not have to solve everything tonight. You just have to trust me with it. We are near the end of this message now, and I want to close with something that I need to settle in your heart before you sleep. You are not forgotten. I know it has felt that way. I know there have been seasons of your life where the silence felt like absence, where the unanswered prayers felt like indifference, where the darkness felt like evidence that you had somehow slipped beneath my notice. But that has never been true. Not for a single breath. I have been present in every moment of your life, in the beautiful ones, yes, but also in the darkest ones. Especially in the darkest ones. I was in the room when you got the news that broke your heart. I was there when the relationship ended. I was there in the hospital. I was there in the loss. I was there when you sat alone and did not know how to go on. I have never left you. And I am not leaving now. My child, you found this message tonight because you needed to be reminded of something that life has been working very hard to make you forget. You are loved. Not the easy, surface-level kind of love that comes and goes based on your performance or your appearance or your success. The kind of love that knew you before you were born and chose you anyway. The kind that sees every imperfection and stays. The kind that has watched you at your absolute lowest and never once considered walking away. That is the love I have for you. It is not going anywhere. It does not require you to get your life together first. It does not ask you to come to me after you have healed, or after you have figured things out, or after you have become the person you think you need to be before you deserve to be loved well. Come to me now. Exactly as you are. With your exhaustion and your confusion and your grief and your walls and your unanswered questions and your barely there hope. Come as you are. That is more than welcome here. As you close your eyes tonight, I want you to hear this one last thing. Tomorrow is coming. And it is going to carry with it something new. Maybe not a dramatic change. Maybe not the answer to every prayer at once. But something. A small shift. A moment of unexpected grace. A conversation, a thought, a feeling of peace that arrives without explanation. A reminder that life is still moving, still unfolding, still full of possibility. I am not done writing your story. The page you are on right now is not the last one. It is not even close to the last one. And if you could see what I see, if you could read ahead even just a few chapters, you would not be able to believe how good it gets. Hold on. Keep going. Trust me just a little longer. And when the morning comes, when you wake up and the weight tries to settle back in before you have even fully opened your eyes, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that you heard these words. Remember that a message found you tonight that was not an accident. Remember that I am with you. That I have always been with you. And that I am taking you somewhere extraordinary. Before you rest, if this message has reached something in your heart tonight, something that needed to be touched, I want to invite you to stay connected. More messages like this one are coming. Messages to carry you through the hard seasons, to remind you of who you are and who is watching over you, to speak into the places that the rest of the world does not always have words for. If you want to keep receiving them, stay close. Press subscribe so that the next time a night gets heavy or a season gets long, these words will find you again. You deserve to be reminded of your worth regularly. And I will keep showing up to do exactly that. Good night, my child. Rest now. You are seen. You are known. You are loved with a love that does not end. And tomorrow, I will be right there waiting. I always am. My child, this is not a coincidence. You did not find this message by accident. I brought you here. Right now. At this exact moment. Because your heart needed to hear this. You have been carrying something heavy. Something you have not told anyone. You smile in front of others. But inside, you feel tired. You feel overlooked. You feel like you are waiting. And nothing is changing. But I see you. I have always seen you. Every silent tear.
every restless night, every prayer whispered when no one was listening. You wonder why the answer has not come yet. You wonder why doors have not opened. You wonder why some people walked away. My child, what left your life was not meant to stay. What did not work out was not aligned with your destiny. I am not punishing you. I am preparing you. There are battles you cannot see. There are things I have blocked for your protection. There are delays that are actually divine positioning. You feel behind. But you are not behind. You feel forgotten. But you are not forgotten. You feel alone. But I have been closer than you realize. Right now, something is shifting. Something is being removed. Something is being aligned in your favor. You cannot see it yet. But you will. Soon. The pressure you feel is building strength inside you. The silence you experience is building trust inside you. The waiting season is building character inside you. Do not rush this process. Do not quit in this season. You are closer than you think. And listen carefully. This message reached you because your spirit is ready. Ready for growth. Ready for clarity. Ready for breakthrough. But faith requires commitment. If this message speaks to your heart, stay connected. Stay close to my voice. Because there will be more guidance, more clarity, more direction for you. Do not let distractions pull you away. Do not let doubt steal what I am building. If you want to continue receiving these words, stay near. Remain connected. Subscribe so you do not miss the next message I have prepared for you. Not because of numbers. Not because of popularity. But because your spirit needs consistent guidance. And I am speaking. I will continue to speak. I will continue to guide. I will continue to strengthen you. But you must choose to listen. My child, you are not random. You are not invisible. You are chosen. You are being shaped. You are being prepared for something greater than you imagine. Rest tonight knowing, I am working behind the scenes. I am aligning people. I am removing obstacles. I am preparing open doors. Trust me. Stay faithful. Stay connected. And I will guide you step by step. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of a new chapter. And I am walking with you. Always.